Welcome back YouTube, it's my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're following me right now, I'm AspieAnswersAll, or I'm clinically known as Aspie, as I'm known from some of you who has been on my channel that's been of support to me from the very beginning. I welcome you newbies, however, with open arms, and hopefully you can gain a better understanding or knowledge about how I work with my everyday struggles with Asperger syndrome, OCD and the like, so that hopefully behind the mask of diagnoses as a person, basically, that we can interact with one another and actually build an understanding and hopefully be able to, like I keep saying, respect one another, give and take, like I have been trying with you lot at this current time on your channel. So as you can see, as I said before, I'm back and obviously trying to be ready for action. So in a different surrounding, of course, because as I said in my Facebook, I had to move on to where I was due to some personal reasoning, as well as just the reasoning I had briefly shared on my page versus the page on New Zealand promotion page of the YouTube page on Facebook. Humbly apologise, I'm getting the name of the site wrong, but you know, these things happen. Anyway, we know that sometimes, as we know, things happen for a reason and things change, and obviously at this current time, before I begin on what I want to share with you all on some of these everyday topics, and I want to share basically some of the stuff that I share are based on my life experiences versus basically just some of the training that I've done through Youth Line and maybe my Polytech courses that I've been doing. So, and all further ado, guys, basically, please respect my tips and advice. I know some of the tips and advice, be it managing stuff, may not be of value or use to you, or may not work for you, but then again, just bear in mind, maybe it may work for me, but not for you, and vice versa. This is a matter of just trying out some of these tips, just maybe for a time, and then if it doesn't fit for you, that's fine. You can always seek professional help, as well as maybe a second opinion along the way, regardless what it may be, of what I may come across of certain topics that, you know, comes your way that I'm sharing with you all. So, and without further ado, also, basically, I talk about some everyday topics based on, you know, example-wise, relationship breakdowns versus dating tips and advice versus everything else, and hopefully some of these will come effective for you guys in any way. So, you know, hopefully you've learnt something along the way with me while you're journeying with me through these video series of whatever it may be, basically, and you've landed on your page, maybe my page, for a reason, you know, maybe seeking out for different sorts of, you know, ideas, opinions, thoughts, whatever it may be. So let's just bear that in mind. So, enough further ado, guys, basically, this one's all about going to be AS and ... This one's all about ASD and friendships, or ASD and friends as well. Basically, this one's all about how to be a good friend, basically. So this is a how-to, basically, a tip and advice about how to help you guys, basically, to understand more about people with Asperger syndrome. Okay, as I said many times before, even though many people may question me or challenge me, what is Asperger syndrome? Is it a disorder, or as many clinical experts call it, as a disability on the autism spectrum now? They have removed it as basically as a neurological disorder, but I still look at it as a neurological disorder in one way or another, how our brain functions different from each other, like many other things, as well as with Asperger syndrome. Many times before, as I said, comes range of different symptoms along the way, be it depression, OCD, and the like of what I've shared so far with my life journey. As we know though, however, Asperger syndrome, basically, also for people that has it, is where they might find social contact, friendships, and handling sensory interactions very difficult. Okay, despite all this, okay, many of us can be really great friends to you all. We can be loyal, funny, loving, and everything. And I want to bring these tips out, and actually, hopefully, just this gentle reminder for you all. When you come across someone that's with Asperger syndrome, maybe you can just see to fit for this for you, but we need a gentle reminder now and again of how to, you know, do certain things, and how to approach certain matters when it arises, regardless what it may be in our everyday lives. I know for a fact that, you know, many people may think, you know, just because one person is autistic, that they're dumb, stupid, and all these other label mentalities, just because they're fearful of the people around us, of the entities, just because we're different, they don't still want to lay upon themselves and think, you know, thing. It's all about how I feel. We need to be included some way or one way or another, as I said before, as a tip and advice, to include us in your everyday activities, and maybe you'll be surprised at what we know and actually could give you along the way, be it tips and advice, be it maybe some sort of afterthought for you guys to think about. But hey, who knows? But here we go. How to become friends with an autistic person with Asperger's syndrome. Tip number 1. You got to remember that, or know that all people that are autistics are different. Okay? Bear in mind that just because maybe you have a friend, family member, whoever, you've got to remember, twice removed. It doesn't mean that they're all the same. Okay? You've got to understand exactly how our mind works, obviously, as another key point here for tip number 1, because obviously, as I said before, our mindsets work differently. Here's an example for me, as I said so many times before, as many people know, I run and rave so much, or talk so much about my beloved subjects. And number 2, sometimes this mindset of mine goes before my mouth, or vice versa. My mouth goes before my brain. Sometimes it just happens naturally, because I'm so much full of information, and I'm all bubbly and excited in 1 minute, and then the next minute, people may knock me down and think, you're too crazy, loony, and all these other label mentalities. But that's got to stop. However, okay, we got to remember, autistic people, just like any non-autistic people, or as I usually call you guys, neurotypicals, are a very diverse group and range of, different things of what we can do for you. Number 2, okay, this is the one I really want to address to you all, is asking about our needs. Every need of ours is different, and we need to accommodate our needs, regardless what it may be. Okay, sometimes we may need to make an assumption or accommodation for some special needs of ours. Okay, some of us have sensory overload issues, be it, for a classic example, sometimes it can be embarrassing for me, basically, when I get so overwhelmed, I need a place to cool off, or just find a way just to have my little quiet meltdowns, in a corner, be it when I stim with the meltdown versus whatever else that comes with the meltdown of mine. Many people may tend to think, that, we're misbehaving and all that when that comes along with it, but no, it's not. You got to remember, meltdowns are real for any classic person with Asperger's syndrome, ADHD, ADD, and the like, of many other special needs. Okay, another classic example here for these sensory overloads though. Maybe you got to remember that for sensory overload, some of us can't handle so much loud noise around us, be it whatever it is. It can be so deafening, well, not deafening as such, some of us will call it that we don't like the white noise or noise around us, be it the busy hubbub of the cafeteria and, all these people walking past and so on and so forth. So maybe we need to find a, quieter corner for us to just reside in while we're in a cafeteria, and bear in mind that we need to be in a place where it's a bit quieter, maybe, even though instead of being in the centre of the cafeteria, where it can become real noisy and overwhelming for us. You got to remember, your autistic friend, or whoever it may be it your family member that is autistic, will know their very own needs, obviously, however, and will be able to usually tell you if they can't do something, okay? Bear in mind, it's not even rude to ask now and again if you're unsure about what it is, what it's like to be autistic or and such, or another way about it is it's not too rude to ask us, something like this. Is there anything I should know about your needs before we do ... Maybe like if we do shopping, or if we go out bowling together, or what have you. This to me, if you ask that formal question, I appreciate that you're thinking ahead of time, thinking about my needs versus your needs, trying to put me first, or trying to put yourself in my shoes of what the situation is all about, be it my sensory overload and whatnot, because this can be helpful for me to know that you are actually willing to take that stand and actually maybe, accommodate my needs, even if, like I said many times before in my journey, many people may think I'm fussy eater, many people may think I'm just too fussy when it comes down to the way I hear things, the way I smell, touch, whatever, with certain fabrics. As I see, certain fabrics really aggravates my skin, but no, this is due to all my hypersensitivity to taste, smell, textures and whatnot. It's about understanding and accommodating, as again, these needs. Number 3 is don't make a big deal out of stimming. Okay, as I said before, stimming is a natural response for us that can actually, be helpful for us. It can be a form of comfort for some of us when we stim. Some of it can be just for other reasons. But as we know, stimming for many autistics, it may be for other, special needs that does the stimming as well as a natural and healthy response to an environment, as I said, can be overwhelming or difficult for some of us at times when it does arise. Okay, sometimes some people may, stim as an attempt to slave off or starve off the sensory overload that's coming, so to speak. So if you notice a family member or a friend that's doing some of those classic signs of stimming that I mentioned to you before, maybe they're starting to have that overload combat. So a tip here kindly is to help them find a quieter place so that they can recover almost immediately. But sometimes some people that stims may take a bit longer. Okay, sometimes stimming can also be used in the mutual situations or to express happiness, as I shared. But don't always tell them to stop what they're doing if you feel it's an embarrassment to you, regardless of the form of stimming that they're doing, of what I've shared, with what I do as a stim, because that's a no-no. I'll put that as a little rant and rave right now, because that's a no-no. Be in their shoes to why they stim, as I said before. It hurts me to the core that sometimes many people are like, oh, stop that, you're too old for that. There's a way to handle people with the overload situation versus the stimming. Okay, it really hurts to the core that people should tell us just to act normal. Okay, why should I act normal if I'm stimming? Be it like I'm clicking my tongue, be it I'm tapping my fingers on my desk or my pens and everything else. I know you guys may do similar things of certain behavioural traits. It's about respecting each other, regardless of what it may be. If this is the case of some of the, stimming that may make you a bit at unease, tell us about it. As again, we should be able to stop sooner or later, but sometimes, like I said, this is a form of basically just to express our happiness. Treat it the same way how you'll treat someone basically jumping for joy or maybe scratching an itch, if sort of thing, for these kind of forms of stims. Some people think that stimming can be cute, and will smile and laugh if they see an autistic person doing it. But this is also okay, just be in mind. But never pin them down, as I said, or stop them from stimming. This can have a damaging effect, basically, and you could seriously injure them, because obviously some stims, like I said, can lead to dangerous consequences. Some stim to the point where they could, self-harm, lead to that, be it, self-cutting, maybe pulling out their hair, all these other forms of self-harm and whatnot. So bear in mind of that, look out for those signs as well of self-harm when they do it, and just basically find a way out for that. Number 4, learn about the sensory overload. Every autistic is different when they go about their sensory overload, when they go into this. Some of them may panic, some of them may just go into a real state of meltdown where they can't function, they can't talk, they can't eat, maybe they can't hear anything but just all that, noisy background. Like I said, there's different types of meltdowns here that can accommodate and help with you to understand more. Revert back to that video of those meltdowns, because I've done 4 different types. That should be more than enough for you guys to understand it, especially in my case of how I go about it. Some people that are autistic, however, when they go about their sensory overload, they may also curl into a ball. They may even run away, even though many people think, hang on a minute, Kieran, that's crazy, why should they run away? Sometimes some autistics may not be communicating enough to let you know when a meltdown or sensory overload is about to occur, but like I said, look out for the signs. It's always good to actually do your homework and research how a sensory overload is coming or a meltdown, Even though if some of us may not want to be around a group of people when this is happening, for fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged, fear of basically being laughed at, whatever the case may be. And some, when they have these sensory overloads, as I said, may have the loss of the ability to speak, tears, or what have you. Okay, another tip here is to look out for when you're learning about these sensory overloads. As I said to me before, you can help them in a way for this autistic person, be it your family friend or whoever, by escorting them to a quieter place. But do not even put demands to tell them to shut up, to get over it. To was another word I always get all the time when I usually have my meltdowns and overloads. Shut up and get over it, and you're you're out of control, or whatever it may be. Okay, yeah, I may be out of control, but it's not my fault if I have a meltdown or a sensory overload. It's forever unbearing for most of us. Many of the people that are autistic or autistic, as we put it in one of the groups I'm in, will maybe agree with me on this. It's so overbearing to the point that, we need to just maybe run away and hide from you and stuff. But we don't mean to be that way. Some of us would love to socialise, even if those sensory overloads is overtaking and overpowering us in some way. But then, as I said before, when you come to the point of escorting them to a quieter place, this again will give us time to recover. Some may recover longer than others, but sometimes with the sensory overloads, there are tips and advice for how to overcome it. Sometimes we may want a quieter, cooler room, maybe. Some of us may want a room that's probably have a few quiet sounds in the background. Here's with my case sometimes, when it gets too much for me, I like to lay on my bed, maybe imagine myself on a beach slapping at my feet and stuff, or even just having my iPod dock that I used to have with 4 different sounds, be it I'm in a forest, be it I'm on the beach, be it that I'm just hearing birds chirping, Just bear in mind of this. Okay. Tip number 5, however, before I, run out of time, even though I humbly apologise, but I just want to bring out some of the stuff, how I feel about some of this, of what I'm sharing, so that you guys can understand me as a person, as well as other people that you come into contact with that are autistics. Don't be afraid to ask for clarity or clarification. Because as you know, some autistics may not be able to pick up facial expressions or body language or social cues, because there's some figurative language. What I mean is here, for example, sarcasm, you making a joke. If you notice that we are confused or giving off that we're confused, tears, maybe you can ask us to why we're feeling confused, and maybe offer to clarify some stuff that we may not be able to understand how you guys function or what maybe, It's all about give and take, being able to understand us, but we trying to understand you guys neurotypicals. Okay, tip number 6 is supporting us, as a friend. I know sometimes we don't put it lightly that we do accept you as friends. Sometimes some of us may, take a while to actually socialise and get to know you and actually label you as friends as later on a fall. Okay. As always, treat others the way you want to be treated, the golden rule here. Accept us for who and what we are, like we accept you, warts and all. Be it if we're autistic, be it if we're having these meltdowns and whatever. Okay, another tip here for supporting us as a friend is, telling us not to be ashamed of basically ourselves, be it regardless, of our meltdowns, our anxiety, and everything that comes with it. We need to embrace everything about us. We're a gift, obviously. We have hidden talents, be it whatever it may be, Some of us autistics, while we're being clinically diagnosed or what have you, may have been through the same stuff as you guys, be it, through the stages of being abused and whatnot, Some of us may have been going through, some abusive therapy, being dehumanized in the social media or just media profession, as well as the medical professionals. Or maybe, being reduced to a burden of in the listing of some systems. Okay, don't forever discourage our autistic traits, however, of what we have, don't be ashamed of them, regardless of what they are, if they're different to yours, as I said before, maybe another one for you guys to understand us more and supporting us, maybe is going to events that supports autism, basically. Take part in the Autistic Awareness Month that's in April, and understand to why and how we work about it. Maybe share some articles that's written by autistic people. Maybe, I don't know, do some form of activities, maybe, that the autistic likes to do as well, But, sometimes you got to be online though, also, for this last part of the supporting a friend. Some of the autistics may not like some of the organisations that you may support, okay? So, what I mean here is I've been hearing often on the Autistic Holistic site that many of them don't like one of the autistic sites or grouping. I'm trying to remember what it's called on the top of the head, but I can't remember it. So if any of the autistic community or subs that are there knows what I'm talking about or has heard about the one that I'm trying to think of right now, please just put it as a little gentle warning or what have you on the bottom of my comments. Some of them may seek to eliminate and normalize us as possible instead of helping us, to adjust in a positive way, if you get me. Like many organisations think that there's a magic cure for autism and whatnot. No way, Jose. As I said before, many times before, that's not always the case. Basically, in this case, however, we've got to be reminded that there's no cure. It's all about managing and treating our conditions like everything else. And then last but not least, is the one I really like to share is with your autistic friend, family member, or whoever, treat them with kindness and compassion. Just treat them the same way you want to be treated, or treat them the way you treat many other of your friends. Make them feel included, accepted, knowing that, nothing's too much or too unbearable for you. Well, that basically ends how to be a good friend to someone who has Asperger's syndrome or autism. Give me the like for thumbs up for support for engagement. Feel free to comment below if I've missed any tips along the way for the ones that may feel that I missed. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Like I said, hopefully I'll do it on the daily, but just keep in mind that even though I'm in a new environment, that it may subject to change. I'm not sure as of yet, but I'll let you guys know little by little. But best case scenario for you all, if you have been subbing to my channel or haven't as of yet, just keep the subscription activation button open so that you get notifications on when I'm there, so that I know that you're watching and engaging. Feel free to also share these videos around to your family and friends and whatnot. So, in all further ado, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time, I'll see you again soon. Aspie signing out.